Someone is watching you, not online, in real life. And worse, you have no idea. They know where you usually go, where you eat, what time you get home. They don't speak, don't act, don't leave a trace. They just watch and wait. You think it's a friend, a coworker, an old acquaintance? Wrong. It's a predator disguised as someone familiar, and they're damn good at blending in. You're living among people who might be collecting data on you every day, not to help, but to use when the time is right. This video breaks down the 5 most dangerous types of people, how they get close, how they manipulate you, and the only way you'll recognize them and survive. Watch to the end, because one detail you miss could cost you your safety. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. Ever felt like someone was watching you, even though you couldn't see a single stare? That feeling isn't mystical. It's real. A reality most modern men are too complacent to notice. You're being watched. Not on Facebook, not from the scene count on your stories. In real life, someone's been silently following your every move like clockwork. They don't need to ask. They don't need to text. They don't need to interact. They just need to know. They know where you grab breakfast, what time you hit the gym, which corner of the parking lot you like to wait at. Then they appear. No small talk, no drama, just brushing past you, sitting behind you, walking by, standing off in the distance, close enough to see, far enough to not be questioned. That's not a coincidence. Coincidence doesn't happen 3 times in 1 week. No one just accidentally shows up at 3 different spots you frequent. And if you still think it's chance, you're wrapping yourself in the illusion, the one they count on you to keep holding on to. The silent observer is a special kind of threat. They don't act crazy. They don't scream. They don't vandalize or send creepy messages. They're patient, and they remember. They gather information from what you carelessly reveal. A post, a routine, a fixed schedule, a gossip-prone friend. They connect dots, analyze patterns, and wait. Not because they're obsessed, because they're calculating. Stoicism doesn't teach you to be paranoid. It teaches you to face the chaos of life head-on, instead of pretending it doesn't exist. If someone knows too much you've never shared, you're not being admired, you're being hunted. The deadliest trap? They make you doubt yourself, make you think you're imagining things, that maybe they just happen to be there, that there's nothing to worry about. And while you're busy second-guessing your own instincts, they're still watching. At first, they make you afraid. Then they make you accustomed. And finally, they make you forget. Forget they were ever there. Forget how unsafe you felt. Forget you ever had a gut feeling. And once your guard is down, they've got everything they need to turn this into a game they already know the outcome of. Think this only happens in movies? Ask the victims of organized stalkings, the women murdered by men who used to be friends, the entrepreneurs monitored for months before being extorted, or worse. They all had one thing in common. They sensed it and ignored it. Stoicism doesn't tell you to panic. It tells you to prepare. And preparation means action, not worry. Change your schedule. Break old habits. Move unpredictably. Remember unfamiliar faces that keep showing up. Don't tell anyone, yes, even close friends, where you're going. Install cameras. Log every odd event, no matter how small. If something feels off, don't argue with it. Trust it and respond. A silent stalker doesn't need you to believe they exist. They just need you to do nothing. Men don't lose because they're not strong enough. They lose because they refuse to believe someone else is moving in the shadows while they're standing still. Your most dangerous enemy isn't the one pointing a gun at you. It's the one who convinces everyone else you're the one holding the weapon. They don't need to shout. A whisper is enough. An unfinished sentence. A glance that suggests doubt. One piece of distorted information dropped into the right ear at the right moment, and that's all it takes. By the time you realize it, it's already too late. You're isolated and don't even know why. The same people who used to shake your hand and laugh with you now keep their distance. They won't say you did anything wrong, they just feel something's off. That's exactly the feeling. Vague, but enough to seed suspicion. And suspicion in a group is the most destructive virus there is. The Saboteur Strategy doesn't aim to destroy your reputation outright. It doesn't need to smear you publicly. Its real target is the trust others once placed in you. Slowly, piece by piece. They won't tell others you're a bad person. They'll just casually share that you've been acting a little strange lately, or that they heard something but it's not really their place to say. Eventually, you start questioning yourself. Why are people pulling away? What did I do wrong? Am I just imagining things? And that's the fatal moment. When you begin defending yourself from your own life, you double-check your words, your actions, and start losing your confidence, while the saboteur simply keeps poisoning the air. This is a classic tactic, used in politics, in corporate backstabbing, between former allies. But what makes it truly dangerous is that it can happen inside your closest relationships, friends, coworkers, family, and sometimes your ex. The person pulling this off often wears an innocent face. No scandals, no outbursts, no obvious conflicts. They speak kindly, seem reasonable, always ready to listen, just enough to twist your story and pass it on, bent to their agenda. And when you try to explain yourself, you end up confirming that something's off. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If something forces you to constantly explain yourself, the problem may not be the truth, but who's controlling the story." The only way to avoid becoming a victim of this strategy is to own your own narrative. Don't let others tell your story. Don't live trapped in a web of rumors, pulled by hands you can't see. Be absolutely consistent in your actions and your words. If you're trustworthy, people should see it in every situation, not just when someone vouches for you. Record important conversations. Confirm every detail you share. And if possible, confront the rumors, not with rage, but with a question. Who said that, and why? That question strips away the masks. Anyone who hesitates to answer is someone you need to reevaluate. You can't stop people from talking behind your back, but you can build an image so solid that people will doubt the gossiper before they ever doubt you. Stoicism doesn't tell you to live in fear of betrayal. It tells you not to be naive enough to think everyone wants what's best for you. And once you know that, you have two choices. Let it make you bitter, or let it make you sharp. The world doesn't need you weaker after every stab in the back. It needs you to understand this. No backstabber can take down the man who always stands with his back to the wall. The enemy you can see isn't nearly as dangerous as the one who walks into your life wearing a smile and calling themselves a good person. No one can stab you from the front. To do that, they have to be behind you, close enough that you don't see it coming, and familiar enough that you think you're safe. That's how the suddenly close friend shows up. Not after years of shared experience, but after a few shallow conversations, they're already calling you bro, buddy, homie. A fast-track closeness, not born of understanding, but of intention. They care about you, out of nowhere, intensely. Asking about your health, your family, your work, your beliefs, your relationships. There's no topic off limits. But what they're really after isn't empathy. It's information. Information is ammo. Every time you share something, you're loading another bullet into their chamber. And when the time comes, they pull the trigger with the very things you trusted them with. They won't attack you head on. They whisper. Not lies, but carefully warped versions of the truth. Just enough detail to make people suspicious, but lacking the context that would let you defend yourself. When do you realize it? When you start feeling exposed. When that friend seems to know exactly how to hurt you, because they once listened as you opened up about your deepest wounds during what you thought was a moment of connection. That's not betrayal. That's a setup. From the start, Stoicism teaches that trust is not a right anyone can demand, and you owe no one your openness. Epictetus said, "People don't lose trust, they throw it away too easily." In a world where everyone's rushing to build connections, the most dangerous person is the one who's too quick to share everything with you. Because what they're really doing is pressuring you to do the same. They offer kindness in exchange for trust. They do favors to cash in control. You think it's a good friend, but they're really building a full file on you. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your habits, emotional triggers, past mistakes, fears, the kind of intel a stranger could never get, but a friend gets easily. They won't burn you today or tomorrow. They wait for the moment you succeed, when you're in love, when you need support, and that's when they turn. And you'll ask, why? But that's the wrong question. The real question is, why did I trust them so fast? Marcus Aurelius warned, "He who trusts too easily is easy to betray." And the tragedy is, sometimes you only see who someone really is when it's far too late. The solution? Not paranoia, precision. Trust shouldn't come from friendliness, but from time and consistency. The people truly worth trusting won't pry, won't pressure you to open up, and won't make dramatic entrances into your life. They build connections slowly, patiently. They don't try to play savior after 3 hangouts. Learn to listen to your gut. If something feels too fast, too perfect, too close, it usually is. You don't need a crowd of friends. You just need enough time to know who's still there when there's nothing left to gain. Stoicism doesn't teach you to doubt everyone, but it does teach you this: only what's been tested by fire and time deserves to be called trust. The world's full of people with kind faces, waiting for you to slip. Don't be the fool who calls everyone a friend. In this life, you only need a few who will stand with you when you fall, not dozens cheering when you're on stage. Stop wasting another day living in weakness and chaos. Subscribe to Stoic Success now to build an unbreakable mindset, master your emotions, and face life like a warrior. No one punches you the first time they meet you. No one stabs until they've figured out your limits. Before violence ever happens, there's always a chain of seemingly harmless behaviors. But they're tests. It starts with a disturbing joke, a shoulder touch that pretends to be friendly but makes your skin crawl, a double-meaning comment about your body, your personal life, or a boundary you've never allowed anyone to cross. And you give a nervous laugh. You let it slide. You tell yourself, maybe he didn't mean it. But that's exactly the reaction he needs. Every offbeat move is a probe. If you don't react, he steps in closer. If you avoid it, he takes 2 steps more. And if you accept it, he walks right through you. Stoicism doesn't preach tolerance for distortion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What isn't opposed will be repeated. What's tolerated becomes habit." The ones who violate you, mentally, physically, emotionally, rarely act on impulse. They observe, they test, they measure your response, and then they escalate. He teases you with a line that crosses the line, then says, "Just kidding." You chuckle it off. Next time, the joke cuts deeper. When you finally speak up, he throws it back. You're so sensitive. Now you're questioning your own instincts. That's how boundary breaking gets normalized. Not through action, but through silencing the target. You might think, I'm a man. I'm not threatened that easily. But that's the most common lie modern men tell themselves. An aggressor might not target you directly. He might go after someone you love, your employees, your family. He forces you into silence to keep the peace. And once you stay quiet, he's already won. You're not controlled by force. You're controlled by silence. And then one day, when everything goes too far, you ask, how did this happen? Wrong question. The right one is, why didn't I do something from the start? Stoicism doesn't tell you to lash out at every violation. It teaches you to prevent that line from being crossed in the first place. You set the boundary. Clearly, firmly, without apology. When someone mocks you with an offensive joke, look them dead in the eye and say, I don't find that funny. When someone touches you without permission, knock their hand away immediately. No explanation, no apology, no softness. Unchecked behavior grows. And by the time it does, the consequences are no longer emotional. They're threats to your physical, mental, even mortal safety or that of someone you love. You don't need aggression to stop aggression. You need clarity, speed, and decisiveness. Because in the real world, silence never protects you. It only protects the one pushing further. Stoicism reminds us, you can't control others' behavior, but you can damn well control the line they're allowed to cross. Violence doesn't begin with a slap. It begins with a stare you're too afraid to meet. And if you let it go once, it will come back, harder, meaner, more destructive. You might hate confrontation, but if you don't stand up, you will be someone's test case. The most dangerous person isn't the one who's angry, it's the one who knows how to wait. He doesn't charge in and destroy your life. He seeps into it slowly through kindness, politeness, and a smile that never leaves his face. No one suspects the polite man who listens, who's always there to help, who asks about your life with what seems like genuine concern. And no one imagines that this same person is counting your every step, waiting for that exact moment when you won't be able to react. The patient predator doesn't need breakthroughs, he needs time, and he'll spend as much of it as it takes. As long as you keep believing he's harmless, he keeps gaining ground. He's not looking for a quick win. He's building a fortress so solid, people will call you crazy for even questioning him. He shows up during your most critical moments, when you fail, when you're in pain, when you break up, when you need someone. But he's not there to help you heal. He's there to watch how you break. He collects your weaknesses but doesn't use them yet. He stores them, like a long-term investment. Then, when the opportunity comes, whether it's a promotion, a new relationship, or any moment where you're emotionally exposed, he strikes without hesitation, using what you once told him, using the things you shared when your guard was down, using the secrets you thought were safe with that trustworthy friend. And when it happens, you're in disbelief. Not because it was too cruel, but because it came from the one person you thought would never hurt you. You ask why. The answer is simple: because he could. Stoicism teaches that not everyone who's kind to you has good intentions. Seneca wrote, "If your enemy knows how to make you think he's harmless, that's when he's preparing to strike." The problem isn't what he does. It's your own blind trust in someone who seems too flawless. In real life, no one always shows up at the right moment. No one always says what you want to hear, and no one understands you better than yourself, unless they're deliberately trying to. The patient predator doesn't come in shadows. He looks like light. He doesn't intrude. He waits for you to open the door. And when you're completely relaxed, all it takes is one gentle push to send you into free fall. You don't defeat someone like that by confrontation. You survive by maintaining a cautious filter. Watch out for people who are too perfect. The ones who always say the right thing, the ones who never mess up, the ones who support you in every argument, even when they clearly don't understand the situation. The ones who always say you're a born leader, full of potential, different from everyone else, even when you've done nothing yet to earn that. Don't let someone else's patience outlast your awareness. Just because someone's been around a long time doesn't make them good. Some people stay close just long enough for you to forget they were once a stranger. Epictetus didn't say you should suspect everyone, but he warned, maintaining control over your own mind is the only way not to become someone else's victim. You can't prevent every predator from coming near, but you can make sure you're not an easy target. Change your schedule. Stop oversharing with people just because they seem to get you. Pay attention to those who've been around for years but never reveal much about themselves. And never forget, the most dangerous person is the one who makes you feel they could never be a threat. Don't dismiss your instincts. They're your final defense system. If, while reading this, a specific name popped into your head, someone who came to mind when I mentioned the observer, the backstabber, the fake friend, or the patient predator, that's not imagination. That's your survival instinct sounding the alarm. Don't ignore it. You don't need a violent act to know you're being threatened. The most dangerous ones don't scream or strike. They build, they bait, and they wait until you've completely dropped your guard. Stoicism doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you aware. It teaches that when life starts unraveling and you don't know why, you need to look at who's standing around you. Because someone might be quietly dismantling your world while you're looking the other way. And you need to act. Now, start documenting. Set up cameras, change your habits, set boundaries. Distance yourself from people who make you feel uneasy. You don't do it out of fear. You do it because you understand that naivety will get you killed before the truth ever shows up. Remember Marcus Aurelius, he who fails to anticipate danger walks straight into it. You can ignore the signs, or you can start living like a man who knows how to protect himself. The choice is yours. The consequences aren't. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.